Yes. Thank you so much once again. This is Impact Masters podcast and Africa's Talking podcast. Together bringing you dev stories, dev conversations, tech ecosystem in Africa. And we're trying to cover what is happening in Africa. And today we're in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And you're blessed to have one of the Impact Masters and a developer and a community lead, one and only Veronica Michael, with us today. Welcome. How are you, Veronica?
I'm good.
You like to be called V, right?
Yes, most people call me V.
Most people. Your friends or
My
most people?
My friends and people who I meet, acquaintances.
Yeah.
I think it's easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice name, V. So you're okay if I call you V or Veronica, right?
Absolutely.
Nice. So my name is Michael Kimathi, or call me MK anytime, and I'll just answer you. So, Veronica.
Okay.
One of the things that we start with here in this conversation is to know who you are, like where you born, and how is that process was like, childhood process, where you went to school. So feel free to share with us.
Okay. So I was born here in Tanzania, Mwanza, and I think in between, I don't even remember, we moved to Dar es Salaam, and we've been living there since then.
Yeah.
So I did study here all throughout from childhood.
That is Dar es Salaam, right?
Yes, Dar es Salaam Nursery School. I remember it was by the way we call nursery school Vidudu here.
Vidu what?
Vidudu.
That's Swahili, right?
Yes, that's
Vidudu via.
Vidudu, just Vidudu. It's slang for nursery school or preschool. Yeah.
Okay, so Vidudu is something else. Yeah.
It is something. Yeah. So I started nursery school, then went straight to grade 1 to grade 7, and I did have a privilege of attending we call international schools. Not international, but it was mission school. Yeah, so we did study a lot of things in English, and the primary language was actually. So basically that. And after that, I went to multiple schools. I can't even remember why, but apparently I have studied in 6 years in like 4 schools, 4 different secondary schools.
Yeah.
But it was really nice experience and lots of memories.
Yeah.
So growing up for me, my parents would always prefer for us to study science subjects.
Yeah.
They would prefer science over anything. And especially my dad, he would tell you, study maths, study physics, it's everything. Especially for women, women are growing up. While growing up, you have scholarships. You have so many opportunities as a woman. If you study science, there are so many opportunities for you. You can even get a scholarship and, go study abroad.
Yeah.
So my dad was, you call him a metrologist. Yes. And his wish was, I think it's most parents, growing up, it's either you're going to be an engineer or a doctor. So for me, I think at first it was maybe I would prefer to be a doctor, but going to secondary school, I did take food science it was called food. I don't even remember what it was, but it's not food science, but it's something around food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my A level, I did take chemistry, biology, and nutrition.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I did take my first year of uni, I did take mining. Well, it wasn't according to me. My dad did make me like, okay, I want you to study and I want you to study mining.
Yeah.
It's not something that I wanted, but at that age, it was more like it's either I study or I please my parents. I think I was that child that, okay, just have to listen.
Okay.
I knew it's not what I wanted, and I did tell them that it's not what I want. But then, so what I did is, okay, I'll study this year. I just have to study and show them that I don't want this. So what I did is I did study that year, and I couldn't go on. So I had to start another first year with food science and nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did do that, and unfortunately, I actually couldn't finish uni. So that is when I came into tech.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
So you are self-taught, or how did you
I
transition?
am a product of a community. I cannot say I'm self-taught.
Amazing. That's good, cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I am a 100% community product, because if you look at my GitHub and look at the first commit that I made in GitHub, the person that was my mentor at the time, he was really shocked and I guess impressed at the same time because it was weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I did my first commit, not understanding what I did, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after that, it was tech. I got into tech with what I wanted to do in tech at first, it was, I just wanted to understand how does it work. I knew I loved something about tech, but because I do not have the exposure and I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't know what exactly was I working for in tech.
Yeah.
So luckily enough, by the year that I joined, it was Andela. They were having a Google Developer Scholarship with Andela. That was 2020, if I'm not mistaken, if not 2019. 2019 going 2020.
Yeah.
So I did that. It was, by the time it was under Joshua Mabina, that was one among my mentors. And these other amazing cool people who are seniors in tech. They've been in tech for like a really long time. And I was actually wondering, why don't I know these cool, amazing people, you know? So,
and that's still in Dar, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That was still in Dar, actually. Oh, so my secondary school wasn't in Dar.
Okay. Where was it?
Secondary school was in... It was in Morogoro.
Yeah. That's where now you had to move from school to school.
Yes, it was in Morogoro, Mbeya, Moshi, and Bukoba.
So you traveled the country.
Yeah,
How was it, by the way? Was it a good experience or frustrating as a kid?
Well, I would say it's half-half. Traveling part, very nice experience. But schools, they do differ. The way our system works, our education system works, it's really crazy. I don't want to call it crazy, but I would say it's not, sometimes it's not very inviting for everyone because the school system, the way how it is, you have to score a certain mark for you to be acknowledged as a certain kind of a person.
Yeah.
So it's it's all classes from school.
Yeah.
And if you do not meet certain standards, you're considered to be a certain kind of person, which can be true or cannot also be true.
Yes.
Because, children do differ and they have gifts. But I think as schools, maybe in the near future, we should just try to find a way of providing or giving education in such a way that is inspiring to kids. At least when they go out, they know, okay, what are they doing? Because, I'll give you an example right now.
Sure.
So for most parents, they tell you, in order to succeed in life, first you have to just take science. Take science. It doesn't matter whatever you take. Take science. They'll feel proud. Yeah. If you take arts, make sure they always say for people who take arts or finances, they have maybe people they do have say relatives in these offices. Relatives who are,
they have connections.
They do have connections.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you do not have connections, just go for science. And another I would say misconception is that when you study science, it's possible you're going to get full scholarship going to uni. Yeah. And then after uni, you'll be hired by the government. Yeah. So it's all a little bit of thoughts of how our parents have survived so far, and I think that's still in them, and that's the only way they know how to, tell us, how to teach us. That's the only way they know how to live this life, because that's how they know. That's how they have gone through life, actually. So it's that. So I would say it's on my side, it was, especially my mother was always there to, back me up and encourage, like, you got this, and I would say I was a little bit of, not a very rebellious kid, but I was in a way. A little bit stubborn, but then very quiet. So in the beginning, the early childhood, it was very hard for them to actually understand me, because you have a child and
you're
she doesn't.
reserved.
You have a child and she doesn't speak to you. You ask her how was school and she doesn't say. So they would react in different ways that I cannot say sometimes, but it was crazy. But maybe it has also helped me to be this person that I am now. Yes. Because I understand now, I finally understand, like, okay, so it shouldn't be this way, then it has to be. And this is not who I am, and this is not who I want to be. So I can be this, so I can be me, the me that I want to be, So, yeah. And School.
Does it mean when you are a bit reserved, you are observing, or
I think
what
so.
would you consider that?
I think so too, because
yeah.
it was very fascinating, because I wouldn't talk to my parents at
Mm.
all, but my little sis, my sibling,
Was the closest friend.
the closest.
So do you wait until at night when everyone is?
It wouldn't even have to wait until at night, because I remember I was 5 and she was, no, I was 4, she was 2.
Yes.
So I was 4 and I started preschool.
Mm.
And she wanted to come to school with me.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. She would cry every time I go away, and my mom would be like, now I have to do something. So she started school at 2 years old.
Nice.
Yeah. So we would go together. So we would play, we would talk to toys, just like any other normal children. But I think would also sometimes, you have like plays, you'd talk to some imaginary things, or you just be alone and you pretend you're
Children
right
are
away.
creative, so they
Very
try to create their
creative.
own world. Yeah.
Very creative. Sometimes we'd pretend you're on the runaway, you're these top models, or you're in this big supermarket, talking, we're doing shopping
Yeah.
inside our little sitting room.
Yeah.
We're shopping in a supermarket.
Yeah.
So it was fun in a way, and I would say I have very possibly overprotective parents, because I remember not at a certain age we wouldn't play outside with other people, and I think maybe it's also because we were new in the area when we moved in.
Yeah.
So it was hard for my mother to know who is who,
And
who
be
is
comfortable
who,
with them, yeah.
Just be comfortable.
Yeah.
There's so many stories that goes around with how children are treated by other kids.
Yes,
It's
yes.
scary. It's a bit scary. So I would understand.
Yeah. And this is Da or some other
Oh no,
place?
this is still there.
Okay.
Yeah, this is still there. But my memories from age maybe 4 to 6.
Yeah.
It's me, my little sis, mom, sleeping cartoon. Yeah. It was that.
Okay.
School, then coming back home. Maybe I did have friends then, I don't remember. But
Yeah.
but we started having like friends other than ourselves when I started. I think it was grade 1 because I'll go to school. It was I live at Tabata, then I'll go to school. Posta, it's
far. Yeah.
it's a bit far, and for a child
Every day. Back and forth.
And sometimes it was very funny. I'm supposed to come back with the school bus, but the school bus would leave me.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So you had to walk all the way, or what happens?
Thank you brought that up, because there is a day I did actually, almost all the way home. It was very
And
fun.
it happened a couple of times.
Being left with the school bus did happen a couple of times. Walking from Poster to almost home, I'd say twice. Because my father would sometimes get pissed because he used to work close to Poster. Yeah. So if I would miss school bus, his suggestion would be just come to my place,
we'll
come
go
to the
together,
office, and we just go home together. But as I said, I might have been reserved, but also very rebellious in a way. So the reason why the school bus would leave me is not because the school bus would forget me. I might be somewhere doing something. Yeah, so I might be inside
and
the
then
school.
forget this is the time to go home.
Yeah, then you forget that this is the time to go home.
Yeah.
Now you can't explain that to an African parent.
Oh,
I mean, you're gonna get it. Why did you forget? You know you have to come home.
Did you get a beating or what?
So many of those. So many of those. I can't even remember. They're the worst part of childhood. You get a beating. I mean, I don't know, but for me it was like I was telling myself I'm just trying to explore.
And you're a kid, right?
Yeah, I was a kid. I'm trying to explore and have exposure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't live. My excuse to myself it was I don't live in Posta, so I can have as much time as I want. That was my
And
excuse.
you don't play so much at home, so when you meet other kids there and there's that freedom, you need to engage them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So that was my excuse to myself actually. So I'll be like, I don't have to worry so much. But then when you go home, it's a different reality. You have to worry, Time is going. You have to go back home. You can't be playing all the time.
You'll meet the reality.
And the reality is ugly. That's the problem.
Yeah.
At least if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But the reality was really ugly. But yeah, I thank God that I did survive that. I did survive that.
Do you think that had an impact to what you do right now and how you think about stuff?
I would say it did help me in just one thing, maybe. right decisions. Yes, it was my right to play.
You became more responsible?
Yeah, it was my right to play, but then come on, you can't be playing from, say, 2:00, 8 at night. It doesn't make sense.
It was that bad? Okay.
Yes, it was that bad. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any actual sense.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would tell myself anyways. I'll be, you know, as a child, you say, if I'm an adult, nobody has to tell me what I have to do, you know, and then you become an adult.
Okay.
You're like, okay, so this is the reality of life.
Yeah, accountability.
I have to be accountable. Exactly.
Yeah.
I cannot be doing this thing. So there are things that I have to do. And now people are looking after me. Okay. So now I'm an auntie. Now they're my nephews. So I have to tell them, okay, you know what, you can do this, you can do that. Now I remember the things that I used to do, and I'm like, oh. So it's that way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
now you can understand why someone should not do anything and everything whenever they want to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There has to be a certain type of everything has a beginning and end, they say. Yeah. And nothing has to be to the maximum. It has to, things have to balance.
Sure.
It's play and work and work and play.
Yeah.
If the other is, more than the other, there is a problem somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it comes with discipline.
It does come with discipline.
Okay. So that's your lower primary or mid-level?
That's actually 1 year in primary. I did all those rebellious. I had shifted. The coming 2 years, I did shift to another school. Now I had to be more responsible because my babysitters came with this school.
So you have to be the bigger sister.
Yeah, now that is where the problem came.
Set a good example.
Yeah, very good example. Other than that, because here is what my mom would do. She wouldn't ask my babysitters, she would ask me.
Of course, that's what happens.
Why did she do this? I'm like, why am I responsible? Yeah. And she's like, you're the older one. You should know. You mean you should set an example. You should tell her, don't do this. But the problem is my young sister doesn't listen. No, she doesn't listen at all. If it's especially coming from me, she wouldn't listen shit. No, really, she doesn't. I remember that. We used to leave home because it's far. The school that we shifted, it was really far. It was, I would say, I don't know how long should I say, or the distance itself. But it was from, I live at Tabata, then I have to go to school with Bongo Lamboto. It's really far. It's
like
really
30 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 5 kilometers. Yeah.
12.
Yeah, 12 kilometers. Yeah, that's still a distance. But there was a bus to take you home, right?
That was the problem. This route, there wasn't a bus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there was a parent who had
a private car. Okay.
That looks like a bus, so they decided to get a bus. But then the problem is it would be late, and when you're late at school, teachers would.
Yeah.
So we had to leave home early.
Yeah,
very
and
early.
And board public transport.
Exactly.
Okay.
And in order to get a public transport with no, I would say with no hassle, it has to be early. As early, I would leave home at 5.
Because of traffic, they wanna. If people are late, they wanna make them full again, so it will also waste some time.
So I would leave home at 5.
Yeah.
I am.
And by the way, what do you call public transport around here?
Daladala.
Daladala. Okay.
Yeah. By the time kulikuwa na daladala, and then those vipanya.
What's that? That's interesting. Vipanya like rats?
Not like rats because they look like rats. The vans that have, I don't know what should I say.
They're carved?
Yeah, in front.
Okay.
Little vans.
It's Volkswagen, right? No? Volkswagen.
Yeah, Volkswagen.
Okay.
So they're ices. It's an ice. Call them ice.
I get those Volkswagen vans, right?
Yes.
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you call them Vipanya.
Yeah, Vipanya.
Okay.
Vipanya. So it's either it was that. And the bad thing of the route didn't have Vipanya. Because if there was Vipanya, there are seats for students. So no Vipanya. The bigger one. The big buses.
Okay.
Yeah. And as a child who you can't fight because adults are big people.
Of course, and respect demands you to give way to the older ones or the elders.
And really, it was really far.
Yeah. And I love that about Africans. It's now that I see young guys take that as a punishment or something, but it teaches you one thing, because in life there are scenarios where you also be an adult, right? Or an elder.
Yeah, definitely.
We are not equal. That's one thing you need to know. But in Africa, the way we have been brought up, on the way it has been through over and over, is that our culture allowed us to learn discipline without anyone telling you. So you know that you should not be seated, whereas
an adult
an adult standing, or someone who is pregnant, or an older, someone like age of your mother or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes even not older than someone older than you should like give them way.
Yeah.
And not because you fear them or anything, but it's just a sign of respect.
It is a sign of respect. And we're taught like when you're really, really young.
Yes.
Because at home you wouldn't there are things you wouldn't do when adults are there.
Yes. And there's a way you're supposed to, I don't know if that's the case here in Da, but there's a way you're supposed to talk to adults.
Oh yeah.
And your peers.
You just can't go like, hey, mama. Oh yeah. Hey, your mom will be like, are you crazy? Are you on crack?
Yeah.
I mean, I would talk to my friends like,
before you ask that questions, a lot of things will happen, right?
Before you even finish
action
that
speaks
sentence,
louder.
there's so many actions. There's so many things that will happen to you. Then when you're done, it should be like, hey, what were you saying? So yeah, I mean,
then it comes naturally as you grow. But I think things have changed a bit. I don't know about Tanzanian so much.
Actually, they have.
But the much younger generation, or even our age, some of them are like ignoring that, saying that they're civilized and all that. And understand, by the way, you should be able to pick what is useful to you and what is not actually useful to you. You just leave it, because some of the things actually are eroding our morals and the way of life. And remember, this is Africa, and Africa is our business. So as much as we get eroded to the other side, we might lose ourselves. And you know what they say about you losing your culture? You get lost.
I get lost.
Because you have nothing to go back to, and you have nothing to go to, because that's not your culture initially. Yeah.
I mean, right now, if you're in a bus full of people, and one thing as a child, people would say, okay, so I'm definitely going to give my seat out first, because an adult pays 400 back in the days. Yeah. A student would pay 50.
Yeah.
I mean, that itself
shows that the priority and stuff.
Exactly. The priority of a person to sit down points that pays 400. You paying 50. Just think, I mean, you only sit when you tell an adult, like, you can have my seat, and they tell you, no, my child, just sit. Yeah. Just because they
give you like that permission.
And, and also sometimes you find you're a kid and you're tired, you're coming from school, it's late. So adults, sometimes they'll be like, no, my child, just sit. But then right now, growing up, people will be like, okay, I'm also paying 400. Why do I need you sit?
And okay, not to criticize anyone or look like, sometimes as you grow old, you also look like you're pointing fingers. But even me, when I was growing up, there's one thing that I knew for sure, that public transport will not leave you as a kid. Also, when you are wearing uniform, and this was like an unspoken rule, you could not pay for transport. Imagine that now. So that means that a student always was respected. Unlike nowadays, whereby even the culture has changed so much that, this is a car, we bought it, we are fueling it, so everyone has to pay, right? So it's both ways. So I hope we can recover some of that, but also people should not take advantage of it, because back then the economy or people were not well financially, and things were a bit affordable, and there was more humanity. I hope we can bring that back now in this generation, because I think we have gone full circle, whereby people are not well financially now. There was middle class, and then now people are a bit richer. I would say that.
I would say it's very saturated.
Yes. Though it's not as much as we want to be, but now can we now say, as much as we are good, can we also bring our African humanity back and combine? Because if we do that, I can tell you for free, everyone would wish to live in Africa. Everyone would wish to invest in Africa, and people actually start learning from African, because there's this aspect whereby, do you know most of the origin innovation always comes from Africa? You know that?
Yeah.
Starting in the humans. It's interesting. Even music, you see what Amapiano is doing, you see what Afrobeat is doing. Even Bongo has like taken over. So there are a couple of things that actually we can also teach the world. And it's about time that we change the way we view ourselves. Because so that comes down to our mindset, how we see ourselves, and also the self-esteem. Yeah. So, and also even parent punishing their children, it's not a bad thing, but their parent will go all the way. I mean, like, to like, to like you want this person not to survive or something. And I'm sure each and every proper African kid has gone through this, in one way or the other. But we're also not so good.
Exactly.
I will not say that you are really, you don't deserve it, but also remember, also you're human and people make mistakes. Yeah.
I mean, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, okay, I get it. I mean, I have little nephew.
Yeah.
There's some things they'll just cross you. There's some things like you tell him, okay, please don't do that, and to your face, like, Sitaki. No,
that's exactly what I do. Yeah.
And
it's my right. You can't do anything about it. Yeah.
And he's 4. You're like, okay, this little thing is 4, and here he is telling me, like, to my face. It's really infuriating. But then you have to calm down and think like, okay, it's a child.
They'll learn the hard way, right? Like the way, I don't know how old you are, but the way our parents used to tell us, if you don't listen to us, the world will give you a lesson. And by the way, it's true.
Yeah.
And I'm not advocating of, a lot of beating to a kid. Or first, maybe you can try to like have a conversation.
Yeah, a conversation too.
Because also, again, I feel like our parents are frustrated by trying to look for food, basic needs for us. That explaining that why you should not do something wrong didn't take a priority in that order, right?
Yeah.
So the easiest way was like, let the action tell you what you are doing is bad. So it was more military. And remember, by the way, you're not so far from colonization. That's something else you need to put in mind. Like the way people were colonized, always, if you did something wrong, if you were found out at night when there's curfew, there were two results, right?
Yeah.
Either you get shot or you get a beating or get you taken in a detention camp. So that actually they grew seeing that, or maybe their parent grew seeing that and impacted to it. So we can always find a balance whereby we don't demoralize our kids psychologically, because so there are kids who they get a beating, and I've had this conversation with a couple of people, and they never get out of that.
Yeah,
they like, these are not my parents. Maybe they hate me to death, or these are not my uncle and whatnot. So you find that it's not the best way to do it, but also, it's something that is better. But I'm saying is that we can always balance, we can always borrow, and we can always learn from the best practices.
Yeah, I mean, just, like remembering that this is a child going to be in a crazy way. There are two things. My relationship with my nephew, we're really close, and we're friends. So I would understand sometimes when I tell him, when I'm trying to be serious and he's all funny and playing. Not playing all the time, but he's 4 years old. Yeah. He doesn't understand that. So if I would be infuriated like all the time and beat him up, he wouldn't tell me anything, because there are things that he doesn't tell his mom. He tells me. There are things that he cannot tell his grandma. He tells me.
You are confident.
Yeah. Partner in crime.
Yeah, V. So fast forward, you go to high school, right? And this is where you moved a lot. Why?
One. It's weird, but growing up from grade 6 to grade 7, I used to have a teacher, a personal teacher at home. Because my parents... So to some extent you are homeschooled, or? No.
Or just a tuition teacher?
It's a tuition thing. You go school, then you come back home. My parents are... actually, I think sometimes I thank God I have the best parents. And they take precautions to things. For very good reasons, I would understand. Because back in the day, I mean, I think there's a day I did sit down and say to myself, like, I'm grade 5, and I'm like, I don't even understand what am I studying. I do go to school, I do pass, but I'm those middle kids. My position is just middle in the class.
Yeah, you're average.
I'm just average, which is, I think at some point it was okay, but my parents, it wasn't okay, because I was living my life.
They want you to be the best. Yeah,
they want me to be the
best, like any other parent, until it's impossible.
Well, and also the fact that I was living my life at grade 5, and that was it. I mean, I didn't think of grade 6, grade 7. I didn't have to think about all that. But they're thinking about my grade 6. They're actually thinking about my form 4. They're thinking about my university. And they're thinking about my form 6. So they're thinking about all this, while I'm just thinking about my,
I'm here right now.
Here. I just want to play. I want to go home and play. I want to eat. That's all I'm thinking about. I mean, I'm just 11 years old. That is an excuse I used to give myself. I'm just 11 years old. But then I was just 11, and I would have my, I would say, responsibilities as a sister. So
Yeah.
the things that I was thinking about, it's me getting home, getting this younger sister at home. There is homework. No kid like we all don't like homework, but I have to. If I don't do my homework, my dad had a tendency of if you do not do your homework until he's back, you're going to do your homework and you're going to do work from home.